Check.
Okay.
I think we're live now, though. It looks like we're live now.
We're live. Are we live?
Yay!
Perfect.
We're perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. We are
Hello,
live.
folks.
Hi, live from the content studio here at Sprii. Welcome to today's webinar, where the topic is the top 10 most frequently asked questions about live shopping. And
Yay!
yes, in the studio, I've got our CEO, the Sprii CEO, Christian, who's laughing now because we are live.
Mhm.
How are you doing now? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be
For
here.
those of you who don't know, we had like a 5-minute rehearsal where we thought we were live, so we're
And now
all
we are.
ready to go now.
So now our CMO, Corey, are you feeling pumped now that we're live?
I'm so pumped, and I'm happy to be back in the Sprii studio. Actually, not. You guys would let me join you in the studio, so I'm in a room next to the Sprii studio. I'm just happy to be back involved in a webinar, and this one today is super exciting. This is one I've been looking forward to for a long time.
Great. Well, let us move on with a little bit of housekeeping. Comments and questions, which you can write in the comment field, because our producer Neha, say hi. Hi, Neha. She will be monitoring those because we know that there might be some questions out there that we don't answer. So if there is something that you really want to know about, please chuck that question into the comments and we will get to them as soon as we can. Our first question, though, is actually a question for everyone viewing this. Where are you watching from? We are sitting here in the content studio in Denmark. What city are you watching this from? Chuck that in the comments and we can all feel a little bit like we're connected, connecting online, which is always nice. And let's get to our first slide. Sprii, it's all about Sprii. Christian, we're going to talk, you're going to be basically answering a lot of questions about live shopping.
Yeah.
What I wanted to first establish, though, is why Sprii is well positioned to answer these questions. What makes Sprii an authority on live shopping?
Yes, good question. I think we are, or I just not think, I know we are quite a powerhouse of knowledge regarding live shopping. So we are not just the three of us here on screen, but we are actually a lot of people and colleagues who every day are watching, preparing, evaluating a lot of different live shopping shows out there. And I think that makes us experts. And some of the questions we are going through today, we get them every day. So we are still in the educational phase of the market. And I think it's nice that we here can take some of the most frequently asked questions.
And clarify things for people. Yeah.
Exactly.
If we go to our next slide, we have a few Sprii achievements. And I was hoping that you, Corey, as our Chief Marketing Officer, could tell us a little bit about how you believe that Sprii is able to position itself as a bit of an authority, a bit of a leader when it comes to live shopping.
Yeah, I think in addition to what Christian just mentioned, I think the numbers that we've put up just in the last 3 years are clear evidence that we are by far the market leader now. And let me just throw some numbers at you guys to add some context in case you don't really understand what this means. Just in 3 years, we've helped produce nearly 50,000 live shopping events. So there's quite a few. We've helped sell 12 million products. And through those sales, we've helped generate more than 200 million, that's million euros for our customers. And that's just in 3 years. So I think the numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah. And in fact, we have, in the next slide, we actually have, the actual companies that we've been working with. There's over 2,400 companies which we have helped. Would you say then that Sprii is a platform that people trust?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And if it wasn't the case, then we wouldn't have this many people coming to us and we wouldn't have these brands working with us. So I think the most important thing that we really wanted to kick off the show with is you guys who don't know who we are, you have a better understanding of who we are, but also what positions us to be able to answer these frequently asked questions.
Exactly. And the number also says something about that. It's actually the hardest part is to take the decision that we as a company wants to explore live shopping or live content. I think when you first are there, when you want to start it, it is not that difficult. And I think the number also shows that.
Exactly. Yeah. Great, excellent. Let's move on to our next slide. We have our first
time.
It's question time, but it's actually like a little bit not anticlimactic, but that it is a very obvious question. What is live shopping? But it's also one of the ones that maybe is a little bit difficult to answer because, yeah, what is live shopping? It can be so many things. But Christian, if you had to give a very concise answer about live shopping, what is it?
Yeah, so the answer is that live shopping have many names. It can also be named live commerce or live content if you don't want to have the shopping thing in it. But often it involves one or several hosts who are broadcasting a video live to a broader audience at once. And the purpose of these lives can vary a lot. But at the end, it's mostly about generating revenue at some point. It can be during the live or it can be later on. And then I also think that it's important to mention that live shopping, live commerce can be made on several platforms, your own website or powerful social media such as Instagram or Facebook. And that's also where we come in the picture, because we connect all those platforms and make it possible to go live where you want to go live.
We in fact, this point that you're touching on does come up in some of the other questions. So we will get deeper into that. Corey, is there anything you wanted to add? Would you like to give your take on what is live shopping?
I think Christian did a great job. I would add, however, somebody coming from the States and also knowing what the market is like in the UK. So we grew up with home shopping TV. So when I explain this to people, it's like, hey, imagine home shopping TV on steroids. Imagine home shopping TV 2.0 or home shopping TV for Gen Z. And my favorite is home shopping TV just on social media. I think the key thing here that separates this from home shopping TV is that this it takes place on digital platforms, but there's that real time, there's interaction. You can ask questions, you get a response right away, and you make purchases directly through the platform. But as Christian pointed out earlier, there's a lot of terms being tossed around right now. We just think live shopping is the one that's best fitting.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great. I think that gives us a pretty good starting point. However, if you do want to learn a little bit more about the basics of live shopping, we have created a starter guide. You can see the overlay here where you can grab your starter guide at Sprii.io. We will be talking a lot about the different resources in today's show. But yeah, a good starting point is the starter guide. So if you want to learn more about that, hop onto Sprii.io.
Get it here.
Get it there. Let's go to our next question. So we did the what, now we want the why. So there are so many things that one can do to sell your product, but why would I use live shopping? Who wants to go first? Christian, you look like you're...
I can start and say there really is many reasons to go live, and we can see that from our users that there are a lot of different, different ways also to measure what we get out of going live, right? So we always are in dialogue with our users about, so what do you want to achieve? Is it time with your brand? Is it to become top of mind? Is it to introduce something new? Or is it to generate hardcore revenue right now? And I think that's important to be aware of. And you can, you can change that strategy from show to show, like you do with other campaigns as well. So your message in your email marketing are not the same every time you send one. It's also depends on what you want to achieve with that email. And I think that's a good way to understand it. But besides that, live shopping is just a great possibility to engage with current customers and potential customers.
But so what I'm hearing there is kind of, there's not just one reason to use live shopping. It's almost like it's a flexible tool that you can make work for your needs. But here we have on the slide, the current slide, if you go, this slide has a whole bunch of different actual data points. Corey, could you talk a little bit about these points and why that means that I should use live shopping?
Sure, I do. But before I do that, I actually want to take a look at this from a helicopter view. I think the most important reason to use live shopping today is because businesses are really struggling. They're really struggling to get customers in stores, and they're really struggling to get people on their websites. That's the big picture right now.
Yeah.
However, a lot of these businesses, since the advent of social media, have invested tons in growing their social media following, but they still haven't found a way to monetize that. So we've been working in a hybrid setup where we have the omni-channel, where we have the physical stores, we have the online stores, and we also have this separate leg over here that's our social media following. This kind of ties everything together. So at a high level, it's really about turning your followers into your customers. Now, why is that important? Why is live shopping really helping move the needle, if you will? And that's because it's delivering outstanding results. Everything from checkout rate. So industry standard is 45%. We're seeing checkout rates as 60%.
Yeah.
Your e-commerce, your return rate, according to Shopify, that's anywhere between 20 to 30%. Some are even higher. Well, we see, because you're delivering a story around that product and you're making more informed purchasing decisions, we're seeing return rates less than 10%. Return rates a lower return rate means less money that you're having to spend on moving those products around. Then there's things like conversion rate. And this is probably the best one right here. Average e-com conversion rate is around 2.5%. We're seeing 20x that with live shopping. So that's what we're calling a very, very fast sales funnel. And then there's other things that Christian talked about, like average time with your customers. So on a website, you typically have 54 seconds to capture somebody's attention. That's from HubSpot. On TikTok, we're looking at 3.5 seconds. With live shopping, you have on average 20 minutes.
It's unbelievable.
So I think like I talked about before, I think the numbers kind of speak for themselves.
Definitely.
So we could dig into that a lot more. But I think
they do seem ridiculous. Yeah. Well, we were just saying that these numbers seem ridiculous, but they do speak for themselves. Yeah. So with that, let's go to our next question, which is the how. So we did the what, the why, and now it is the how does it work? Now, this is where things start getting a little bit more complex. This question has been sort of divided into 2 parts. So I was both of you guys can hop in whenever you want, but we're broadly talking about 2 different ways that Sprii works. We've got Sprii on social media and Sprii on site. So if you want to talk a little bit, Christian, about how Sprii works on social media, and then maybe Corey, you could take it for how does Sprii work on your website.
Yeah.
How about we flip those around?
Oh, you want to flip those around? Yeah. So you want to take social media?
That's fine.
I want to I think Christian's better at talking about the on-site than I am.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, look, guys, it's really straightforward. You can see on the diagram here in front of us. So it's really about getting people to your live event. And how it really works is simple. It's like you're showing a product. Say I'm a host, like you see someone showing this product here. And people really just write the buy code up in the comments, and that's basically how you make a purchase. It's really that simple. So before, when we're doing home shopping TV, you had to call to place an order. Here you're just writing in the comment fields, and that really makes it a seamless user experience. So once I've done that, then I get a message on if it's Facebook, then I get a message on Messenger, and you can see the message over here, step number 4, and that basically says, great, all you have to do is confirm this, and that puts the product in your shopping basket. And that's actually taking place on your website. Now, the key here is that you're owning the entire user experience. Now, we don't see that, for example, with TikTok Shop. They own the entire experience. And also with Facebook Live, they also own the entire experience. Here, from A to Z, you oversee everything. And I think that's really important. But hopefully here you can see how seamless and how fast that user experience is from going, wow, that's a really cool product. I'm discovering this new product. I'm understanding what this product is because this person is telling a story. And all I have to do is write something in the comment field to have that product put into my basket. That's why we're seeing conversion rates of up to 60%.
And that it's all one long flow. You don't need to leave the stream. You can just continue watching the same live show and just type in the buy code, and that will go to your messenger, but you don't have to interrupt. You can just keep watching, and those all get saved into the message at the end of the show, which I think is really nice. That you don't feel like you have to hop between different platforms, different websites. It's all the same stream, which I think is really cool. Yeah. What about
and just to add, that we have the live on social media is just so important, because here you really have the possibility to get out to new customers as well, because there is an organic effect.
Yes.
So when you are producing content that engage the viewers, then it will be shown to even more viewers, right? And that's
Precisely.
also why we see that small and mid-sized companies can have thousands of viewers. And
much more than if they're just stuck to their own shop.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
Exactly. They are really impressed sometimes when they see
They're
that,
amazed.
okay, we have 1,000 orders. We wouldn't have had that in 10 days, and this was just in a few hours.
It's a happy way to be overwhelmed.
Yeah, exactly.
What about on-site? So we have here how Sprii works on social media, but then we have how Sprii works on your own website.
So on your own website, you can put the live stream where you want. So if I go to a website now and they have a live stream, it would probably pop up in the right corner, and then I can click on it, and then I could see it, or it could be a floating
like
widget,
in the corner.
When I'm surfing around.
Yeah.
I could also make a live shopping library where customers could go in and see what kind of content there is. And that's a good idea if you have shows where it's more evergreen content. If it's a show with a lot of discounts and buy now offers, it's perfect for social medias. But the experience on your website is that you see the live, and there is also overlays, as in Curry's example, but here the overlay are clickable. So instead of using buy codes, you
click on the button.
You just click on the product you want,
here on
and then it pops up. And here the experience is also a bit depending on your current setup, but it's as simple as click on it and then put it into your basket.
I can actually see
one thing, the magic here is that it's not either or, right? So you have overlays on site, you go live on your own webpage, and then you go live on Facebook, Instagram, and maybe an influencer's or a partner's Instagram site as well. And that's all in one.
So you're getting all of those viewers.
Yeah.
But I'm actually so I actually wanted to, on this particular point, we're getting a question in here from Andrew Coates. Can they only watch live to purchase, or can they rewatch after the live has finished?
So in our system, you can you are the one who decide how long the video should be shoppable. So if you only want it to be shoppable when you're live, you can do that. You can also say in the beginning of the video or during the live video that this live is shoppable until
whatever
tomorrow
time point
or
you put.
2 weeks or whatever.
Okay. And what about, like, because also if you look at our 5 steps on how Sprii works on your website, number 5, users can find and watch past shows on demand. So if you have a show that's on your website, users can just go to that and watch it and buy whenever they want.
Exactly.
So sounds too good to be true, and yet it is true. Great.
I mean, think about what that does. Think about what that does for your product display page, right? I mean, we're so used to just having static images of let's just say clothing, for example, or products. Maybe we'll have a video that's been made ahead of time where somebody's walking and showing it. Here you actually have somebody telling a story about it. And again, I think that's what really speaks to the beauty and the value of live shopping, is the storytelling around it, so that people understand what they're buying. They make really good decisions, and they don't send things back.
Yeah, precisely.
And you can say when you're live on site, you can ask questions to the host, right? And the host can answer in the live, or there can be someone who are answering in the comment field. When you're seeing it,
like
when it's not live, then you can see what other people had of questions to the different products. But you can also see, okay, I'm interested in those 2 products, and then you can jump to the place in the video.
Yeah, you can skip to whatever product you want. So you don't necessarily have to watch the whole live just to get to the product you want. You can just skip to, I'm interested in the red shoe, so you go straight to that.
Exactly.
Fantastic. I hope that answered your question, Andrew. Yeah, great, thanks. Let's click ahead to our next slide, where we're going to talk now a little bit about what industries and products are best suited? We do have a slide here with a couple of examples. So this, if you go to Sprii.io, you'll also see the same thing, that these are some of the industries that we have seen use live shopping. But one could argue, and in fact, I've got two people here who will definitely argue the following, is that it is not limited to just these industries. So we have, because like we've got some of the most popular.
I think still here we have a lot of industries, right? And I think that's also the main point here, that we have really many different verticals, industries who are adopting the format. And I think you can say that it's quite the same with other sales and marketing activities, right? I mentioned email before, and I think it's the same here. It's more about how you adjust your email marketing or maybe your Google ads. It should be suited for your company. Precisely. And the same you can do with live. And that's also why we sometimes are surprised that a company like this can have success with live. But that's because they know their company, their value propositions, and they also know their target group. And then they take the format and our inputs, best practices, and so on. And then it's just really a good combination.
Precisely. Corey, what is your thoughts on industries? Like, we know that we have some of the most popular ones like fashion, health, and beauty, but we see a whole bunch of other industries pop up. We see all sorts of things. What has been your experience about well-suited industries?
I've been surprised at how creative people can get when it comes to live shopping. But again, I see live shopping as an immersive storytelling tool that allows companies, brands to deliver an exceptional customer experience. So there you go, give people to, and they'll build new and fun things. So we've seen things ranging from fashion and jewelry to sofas and steaks. I mean, yes, can you sell a ribeye on live shopping? Yes, you can. And you can actually, in one live shopping event, earn the equivalent of an entire week's worth of revenue with live shopping. So that's pretty amazing. I do, and I'll just iterate this, what I said earlier, was that I think it's really products that benefit from good storytelling. So, for example, wine, travel, food, clothing, anytime you can tell a story about it or a good storyteller, then you're going to benefit from a tool like live shopping. Also, the products that require like demonstration, like clothing, like different shapes, different sizes, different fits. And also with beauty, for example, I mean, how do I take this makeup or whatever and apply it? Or jewelry, it's like, how do I wear it? These are things that are really hard to find in a store, because you have to find a really good salesperson, but also a salesperson who has the same look and feel as you. But you really can't find these experiences on your website either, unless you have our on-site solution. So there is something really new and magical about this that's not on the market or in the market right now. So I think that's why people are embracing it and getting the results that they are.
Yeah. Now, so what we're hearing here is that, it can be almost for anyone, even though we have got these main industries on our website. However, we just have an overlay here popping up, which says you can read more success stories at Sprii.io by downloading our customer success storybook. So in this storybook, we have success stories from a very different industries. So if you are looking for inspiration about how you can use live shopping, definitely go to our website and check out this storybook, because you'll be surprised at the different types of customers that we get here at Sprii, which leads me to the next question, actually.
We have a question.
Oh, we have a question coming in, yeah.
Is it possible on Sprii to stream in 16:9 ratio?
Oh, that's a question.
What was the question? Can you repeat the question?
So the question we're getting is it possible on Sprii to stream 16:9 ratio? We work multicam with graphics on the side.
Yeah, that is possible, and we have users who do that, but I would recommend to do it in the other format, because most viewers are watching on their phones, and it can be a bit of a challenge to get them to turn it around.
Most people,
so if you can do it in this format, that would be our advice.
But it is possible if you really choose to do 16:9. There you go. So as I was saying, like, if we go to our next question, because we were talking about how are different businesses using live shopping. So I'm saying that in our customer success storybook, we have a whole bunch of different customers from very different industries. And now I wanted to talk a little bit about how are businesses using live shopping, because it's not just about revenue. Corey, I'm going to throw this one over to you. If we could go to our next slide. We have 4 examples here. What are some of the different things that people are doing with live shopping? Because you'd be surprised.
Yep. As you said before, most people are using it for commercial purposes to sell product, to boost revenue. But again, we've seen our customers come up with some really interesting use cases, and most of the time because they just inspire us. So on the left, we have Ida, which is an activewear company, a really popular activewear company. They do it for product drops. So when they launch a new product line, they'll use it for that. Obviously, there's a commercial element there, but they also use it for building community. So they'll do community workouts. It's like, what does that have to do with live shopping? Well, not really, but it's a part of the overall ecosystem. It's a part of their community system, and obviously that's driving growth.
And it also proves how good the product is that you could buy, because if they're working out and you see the clothes in action, what they're meant to be used for, because Ida is for workouts. I use Ida products while I'm working out, therefore Ida works.
It's effectively content marketing because they're showing how the product is being used. But the cool thing is that the reason they didn't just go live is because they can use some of the built-in functionality in Spree. For example, our gamification features that has countdown timers and things like that. So that's one good use case. The other is the PSA, which is a Professional Squash Association. You can see that in the photo next to it. So they have 1,200 professional players across 5 different continents, and they're actually using our product to drive Squash TV subscriptions. So they have a product called Squash TV. So they're using it to drive subscriptions. We didn't see that coming, but there you go. The other one is Primo Tours. That's a really popular travel agency. Now they're using it for a few things to build awareness about their brand, and they're really good at timing because they know that it's been really cold here in Northern Europe, so people want to go somewhere warm. But they're also using it to promote destinations, and they put together a whole package there. But also, their end goal is to drive leads that they can hand off to their teams to sell afterwards, and that's really successful. And then one of my favorites is the company called Normal. They're a really popular variety store chain. If they haven't come to your part of the world yet, don't worry, they'll be there soon. But they use it for lots of other things. But one that they've recently done, which we really love, is they used it to shine spotlight on children with disabilities. So they partnered with a handball league called Lykkeliga, and it's for around 1,500 players. Most of them are children with disabilities. And I thought that was really great to use it for a more charitable purpose. So these are 4 kind of quirky, off-the-wall examples, but only goes to show the breadth of what you can do with live shopping, especially when it's powered by Spree.
Yeah, and especially because what you were saying before, that we're almost contradicting ourselves, but it speaks then to the flexibility and versatility of Spree, that here we have 3 out of these 4 choices that we have, examples that we have here, are not actually selling a product that they're holding in front of the camera. But they're still doing well. They're still having success. That it's not, you don't just have to have a product that you hold up in front of a camera. It can also be something like a holiday, like a subscription, like a fundraiser event. So it is so flexible.
Yeah, and I think you can say in conclusion that lives can be done in a lot of different ways. It can be like a fancy fashion show, right, with focus on the product and a nice atmosphere, or it can be like a YouTube unboxing video where you really go in detail with the product, or it can be a sales event with focus on price and discounts, and it's now or never if you want to buy this product. And of course, they have different objectives, and they can do different things for your brand and for your results.
I think it really goes. I think it also demonstrates how great it is at building brand and building community, all of which feed into the commercial success of a company. But I think it just shows the versatility of live shopping.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump over to our next question. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. How much does it cost? Now, in terms of cost, I'm going to let you guys talk a little bit more about that. But first up, I just wanted to show this slide, which we came up with a while ago, which is called the Sprii formula, because really, Sprii is a tool that you can use very, very easily and get started very, very quickly. The formula is Sprii plus a smartphone plus a ring light, and you can go live.
Yeah.
And you don't even need the ring light. I mean, that's just an added if you really want to look good. So
true, but we wouldn't recommend.
Christian actually has the halo effect right now. So
we don't want, true. But yeah, we don't recommend going live in the dark though. So you need some sort of light.
True.
But really, when we talk about getting started with Sprii, it's as simple as these things. You don't need to spend a whole lot of money on a lighting setup and a camera crew and a production company. Really, it is just as simple as these three things. So when people, I think what I'm getting at here is that when people talk about the cost of Sprii, they think that there's a lot of added cost, but really it's these three things.
Yeah, I think the highest cost for an e-commerce business is not to adopt live shopping.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
But,
Corey?
What?
No, I just was wondering if you were going to add to that banger statement that he just made.
No, I just said it was an opportunity cost. It really is. And the thing is I couldn't agree more with Christian. Yeah, you can't afford not to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but if you're asking about how much it costs,
we do have a slide about that.
Start with Sprii,
well, we do want to talk about actual cost. Yes. So with Sprii, you can get started for less than 300 euros. Right. Yeah. So that is the actual cost. Is there anything anyone wants to add to this?
I think it's nice that we, on our normal subscription plans, that there is a part of our model that is a very low monthly cost, and then it depends on how much you get out of it, and that's also means that we are really, really focused on bringing our customers to success. Because if they don't have success,
we don't have success.
Yes, exactly. So that's a good test for us, and that also means that if you are taking contact with us, one of our success agents or another one on the team, they will be totally honest with you about how you can become successful, or what things that you should work on to become successful. Because it's important for us that we really showcase you, this is the way for you, or this is the potential you have, and because that's really in our interest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get it. So what we're saying is there is that no secrets will be kept. If you want to ask how to be successful with Sprii, we will let you know.
Yes.
Yeah. Which brings us to, actually, this ties in very well with the next question, which is about results and how fast. This is a question we do get asked a lot. How fast can I start seeing the results? What I'm going to leave that one open to you guys. If a customer asks, when can I start making money? When can I start being successful? How do we answer this question? Corey's nodding.
I think it depends. I can start, and then Christian can add his thoughts as well. Yeah. I think it depends on a number of factors. I think it depends on what your overall goal is. Obviously, sales is what probably a lot of people are thinking, but you can also use it for generating awareness, growing your subscriber list, getting more followers organically, acquiring more customers, generating more web traffic for retargeting. So it depends on how you're defining success. There are a few prerequisites, though. I would think. Obviously, you need to have a good social media following, but that's not enough. We see some of our most successful customers both having a good social media following, but also really good engagement, because that's the community that you're kind of dipping into. As I said earlier, if you want to convert those followers into customers, you kind of need to be engaged with those.
Exactly.
I also think a lot of it has to do with the type of product that you're selling and the amount of variety that you have within your product portfolio. If you're selling one particular product, then there may not be an opportunity to really be successful in the beginning.
Yeah.
Also think that you need to be willing to invest in promotion. Obviously, you're going to have a community out there, but if this is your first time doing live shopping, people need to understand what it is and know how you're doing it. So there is a small investment there. But so those are some of the high level ideas that I have, and what I typically tell people when they ask that question, because there's not just a, hey, I'm going to pull something out of my pocket, do exactly this, and you're going to be successful. A lot of it depends on your situation. Christian, what about you?
Yeah, I really agree that it depends, right? It depends on what kind of company you are and what objectives you have.
Exactly, the results you want to get.
Yeah, and maybe also do you have some experience with video format already?
Yeah,
that can also be the case, and then businesses have just different objectives and ways to reach their growth goals, right? So if you're a retailer that use bargainings, discounts, and campaigns, it's quite easy for us to start, because you maybe already have a campaign next week where you kick off summer with I don't know, something products that is related to summer, right? And you can kick off that with a live shopping show, and there is a purpose with the live. You know what you want to get out of it, and so on. And you can use our advices to promote it and make an entertaining and informative show. If you are more in the market to build up brands, you are maybe presenting new products. It could be in fashion, right? And here you also can get success quite fast. But here is more about securing that it's the right ones who are watching the show as well. And it's not so much about revenue here now. It's maybe more about introducing the new product line and so on.
Yeah. Great. So this really feels like the answer is it depends on what the results you want to achieve are. So that in itself, the question was always going to have a varied answer, because how fast can I achieve these results? It depends on what results you want are. However, we do have something for you, which is we have just made a revenue calculator. So you can go onto Sprii.io, and one of the first things you'll see at the top is this calculator. And this tells you an estimate of how much revenue you can be making with live shopping on Sprii. It does ask you for a few data points. So you just input like how many followers you have and their engagement and how long you're going to go live for, how many shows, etc. And you can get an estimate. So if you're absolutely burning to know this, you can go onto Sprii and put in those details and find out right now. Great. Okay, I am aware of time. So let's hop over to the next question, which is, hosting. Now, I know for a fact that this one comes up a lot, because I now host some webinars at Sprii, and I know that the reason why finding a host can sometimes be hard, and it is because some people are scared to get in front of a camera, because at the end of the day, live shopping means you are doing it live, and it can be quite scary to go live. So it is no surprise then that one of the questions we get quite a lot is, how do I find a host? How do I get someone to go in front of the camera? I'm going to, how do you find a host? Corey, how did you find me? No, how did you find a host for live shopping? Where do you start?
I mean, so it really, you guys are going to get tired of this answer, but it really depends. There are a few options. I would, so again, different to home shopping TV, where you typically, you're on a network which is specifically tailored for this, and you have a paid host there, peddling your product. This is what separates live shopping from home shopping TV, is that it's an internal thing, right? It's somebody inside your own organization. So the first point that I would look internally. So it could be the actual business owner. We see that quite a bit. Maybe somebody from your customer support team. Maybe it's a product specialist. I think the most important thing is that authenticity is key. So you don't really need to be a hosting expert. Rarely are any of us a hosting expert. But I do think that it's really important to find someone who knows the product really well. And this is key, somebody who's really good at engaging the audience. Because you can know the product really well, but if you're not going to be able to engage the audience, then good luck. And I do think if you look everywhere in your organization, you will be surprised to find people who are actually willing and interested to do this, who you may not have identified as somebody who could be your go-to live shopping host. I would also suggest that two's better than one. sometimes, allows for some ping pong. And I think that's really good. Obviously you want dialogue with the audience, but it's also good. For example, you and Christian, you guys are sitting next to each other. A lot of magic can happen between you guys. Yeah, absolutely. And you could also, if you want to, you can also connect with a well-informed influencer to drive awareness. We have some really good examples from e-cooking, for example, but I think the difference or something just to be mindful of is that it really helps if that influencer is really product aware. They know the product really well. They can speak to the product, but it's a good little accelerator if you want to get more eyeballs on your product. If you're an up-and-coming brand. Yeah. So those are my thoughts on where to start with hosting. I will also add by saying that most people say that it's scary in the beginning, but after the first few seconds and then maybe the first few shows, it becomes natural for them.
It is like most things, practice does make perfect. So the more you do it, the more you get better at it.
Yeah, agree. Agree on that. Agree to all what you're saying, Curry. Here, look around in your organization and look for someone who are willing to learn, maybe have a bit of charm, and maybe also product knowledge. But the hack here can also just be to have someone who are a good host, who can say welcome, and then you can have a lot of different guests at your show. If we look at the IDA, as you mentioned, Curry, they use the whole organization as models, and that's quite nice. So it's both the ones from marketing, but also from design and from the economic department and so on. And just that's also gives a lot of authenticity, as you say, because we see a lot of different people in the clothing as well. So that's
I like
a good
that.
way.
That's but this question was actually such a common and important question that we actually created an entire webinar about it. So on this webinar, you can also go to and watch a different webinar about hosting, finding a live shopping host. So if this is something that you, if you are wanting to start live shopping and the only thing that is stopping you is finding a host, then I can strongly recommend going to Sprii or to our YouTube channel and finding the webinar called, I believe it's up on the screen, How to Find the Perfect Live Shopping Host. We will be sending all of these resources at the end of the show, so do not worry if you didn't catch that right now. But let's jump ahead to our ninth question. Why should I choose Sprii over other live shopping platforms? And we have here, if we could just, Neha, if we could remove the overlay there. Yeah. So I wanted you guys to talk a little bit about the benefits and features of Sprii. I am also, because I just saw the first one, it's multi-stream to SoMe. We are getting a question here from Hannah Stone. Can you go live across multiple platforms simultaneously? I see Facebook and Insta as well as own website are options. Are there any others, YouTube, etc.? So I think the first thing we're going to do here is talk a little bit about how the benefits of Sprii and answering Hannah's question.
Yeah. So yes, with Sprii, you can go live on multiple platforms, your own web page, several Facebook and Instagram accounts at once. And I think here we are quite unique because we make all of them shoppable. I think if you look at some of the American live shopping softwares, it's only on your own website, and then you can maybe multi-stream it to one Facebook channel, but it's in what I call it's a dead stream, right? Because there is
so you
no
can't actually buy things from it. And
it's also quite hard for your for the algorithm, because you will move maybe people from that live to your website, but that's quite technical. But and there are a lot of great things about doing it in this way. We have quite a lot of users who tried for a year or more to only go live on site, and then they came to us and did it on the social media pages as well. And their numbers in terms of viewers and sales were not just doubling, but it was 10 times as much as they got early on. So therefore, this is it's not just an add-on. It's really a key to become successful with live shopping.
Absolutely. I'm just aware of time here, but Corey, Looking at our benefits and features, was there anything you wanted to touch upon? Or did you want to expand more on any of them?
I think one thing is obviously talking about the product, but also making your live shopping an experience through making it fun, making it entertaining is also really important. That's also key in terms of boosting engagement in the forms of content and likes and things like that. So we have some really cool built-in gamification features, which allows you to do that. So quizzes, name draws, things like that. We also we put a lot of time and energy into building out our knowledge base because we realized that live shopping is new for a lot of people. So tons of stuff to dip into there. Obviously some limit the number of lives that you can host. There's no limit on that whatsoever. Unlike a lot of our other people. Sorry, go ahead. Did you ask?
I was like, go live as many times as you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that really sets us apart, and this kind of combines the last two elements there, is that a lot of people charge for the onboarding process and the support. But one of the things that we take a lot of pride in is we actually have humans on the other side of the screen of the phone who you can actually talk to, not only in terms of both in terms of onboarding, but also just in terms of there's always somebody you can call if you need help. And we put a lot of time and energy into making sure that you're successful. So you will have a customer success agent to help you understand the product, but also help you strategize and find the right way to use Sprii. Something we put a lot of time and energy into.
We are getting a question here from Stephanie Waitman. Can you explain a little bit further about gamification? Because we mentioned 4 different games. If someone question.
Yeah, so it can be done in a lot of different ways, and we always try to do it in a way that match the brand or the retailer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we are not only making the game for the game's purpose, right?
It should have a reason why you're doing it.
But for example, it can be a quiz about something you have talked about or something about your store. So for example, if we were making a quiz now, it could be how old are Sprii, or how many users do we have, or things like that. And then there would be some overlays presenting the question, and then you could type in your answer, and our system would see, okay, who is answering the right question, and maybe we would send out a message to them or a comment where it says,
congratulations,
you're
right. The winner. Yeah.
And we could also put up a graphic overlay where all the names that participate in the quiz are shown, and then one winner is
it's like randomly selected. There's different types, but one of them's like a random selection one.
But it can also be where you want to get people's feedback. So it could be, which T-shirt do you like the best?
Kind of like a poll on Instagram. You could be like, hey, which one do you want, blue or purple? Yeah.
And there is also a graphic there, and the whole idea for is to secure that there is engagement from those who views, because that's works quite well. You feel that you can be a part of the live show, and at the same time it also have an organic effect.
I think we also see a lot of people using gamification to prolong engagement. So they'll announce, they'll have a countdown timer being like, the winner will be revealed in 6 minutes, and there's like a countdown, and then after 6 minutes the winner is revealed, and that's a way to get people to stay on your live show. So there's, in answer to your question, Stephanie, basically there's lots of different things you can do with gamification. There isn't just one thing you can do. So
and in a lot of different scales. We have some who have games all the time or during the whole show, and we have some who only have it in the beginning, in the middle, and the end, and someone who so it depends again.
A question from Justina Lee Rosu. Do you recommend vertical or horizontal? I think Christian did mention this.
Thank you for the question. And so we recommend that it's horizontal.
No, vertical.
No, sorry.
Vertical.
Vertical, because most of our viewers will be on a phone. So if it's Facebook, Instagram, or your own webpage, it's just that's
a good question though. That we get that a lot.
Let's jump to our last question. How can I get help with live shopping? So this is something that I feel like has popped up in a small way in a bunch of other different questions, but so basically how can I get help with live shopping? Let's just say you joined this webinar and you are a little bit intrigued and you want to get started with live shopping. What can I do? Where can I get help? Who can I call? What can I read? Christian, tell me everything about getting help.
There is so many ways to
Yeah.
get started, and I can also see that there is a question from Helen who is saying that she's not super tech savvy. Would it be able for me to do Spree lives on my own, or do I have to get help maybe? And we have made the system so from my perspective, everyone can get started. Of course, they need an onboarding and a meeting with one of our success agents to talk about best practices and do's and don'ts and so on. But if you, but everyone can get started, right? But we want to do more than that. We really want to secure that our users are successful and are becoming more and more successful. So therefore, we both have quite a lot of resources that we can share, but we also have our own human-powered resources where we have success meetings, and in some cases, you also get an agent that is only yours to secure that you become successful.
I believe every one of our like these resources that you see on the screen, like even if you read them and still feel like you have a question, at the last page will always be always, if you have questions or want help, you can reach out to someone at Sprii because there'll always be someone there to help with your questions.
And the last thing, if you want to just say, okay, our company needs to make lives, we don't have the resources, we don't have the time, we just want a key, what is called turnkey solution, someone who comes and do everything for us. We have a lot of partnerships with live shopping agencies that can help you out with that.
You will never be alone. No. Again, just looking at the time, so let's hop to our final section, which is the public brainstorm that we had. We might have to zip through these quite quickly, but maybe a week and a half ago, something like that, we had a bit of what we are calling a public brainstorm on LinkedIn, where we asked all of our community to ask us. We asked them to ask us questions about live shopping. We have here 4 of the top questions that came out of this public brainstorm, which we're going to zip through now. Number 1, can I have someone host with me, or do I have to talk all by myself? I think we did talk about that you can host by yourself, but you don't have to. And ideally, what Corey was saying before, it's nice to have 2 people to be able to ping pong ideas. How much time should I spend on each item? So we're talking specifically about...
And again, that really depends, right? Because if you want to talk about all the functionalities about this mouse, right, you can use a lot of time. Or if you want to sell it on its value propositions, what it can do, maybe you should use a bit more time. But if you want to sell it just because you have a lower price point on it, it can be quite fast, right?
Yeah. So again,
also you just require some just basic planning skills. If you're planning on going live, let's just say for 30 minutes, okay, figure out how many products you want to talk about, how much of a story can you tell around them. I mean, just basic planning can help you curate what you want to talk about. And I think that's a key point. It's just like, I wouldn't just recommend starting my camera and going live. There's a little bit of planning that needs to be done ahead of time. Not a lot, but a little bit of thought needs to go into it.
And the last 2 questions are kind of linked, which was about how do I achieve a positive ROI and what can I expect in terms of audience numbers and sales? Again, it depends.
You can try to use our revenue calculator on our webpage, or you can just book a short phone call or a Teams meeting with us, because that's the best way to answer that question. We have users who sells for millions every time they are live, and we have some who are selling for thousands, but it's also depends on the size of the company, right? So
absolutely.
Can I say one more thing? I would also, because sometimes it's actually nice to look at real life examples. So I would go to the website. We have tons of cases of companies that are probably just like yours, and you can see how they've done with it. But also, if you follow us on, for example, LinkedIn, almost on a daily, bi-daily basis, we actually showcase customers who've recently gone live, and we talk about how they've performed. So that's also a really good way for you to stay on top of how people are just overall succeeding with live shopping.
Absolutely. Okay, let's wrap up things. So, if you are wanting to, like this webinar, we're about to wrap it up, but it does not stop here. We always have another webinar cooking in the background. So if you do want to participate in our next webinar, the topic of that is the perfect live shopping recipe, where we will be looking into the before, during, and after of creating a live shopping event. You can sign up at Sprii.io. But I think importantly,
can I say something about this right real quick, Marissa? Sorry. So for those of you who are kind of on the fence and you're looking for a way to understand what happens before, during, and after, so it's really the full recipe. This is the webinar for you. We've kept things at a pretty high level today, but we'll be digging into every phase of it. So this is where you want to be if you're at that point in your journey.
Yes. And to answer Stephanie Waitman's question, who's asking, where do we book a meeting? You can book a demo by going into Sprii.io and hitting that orange button, book a demo. Okay, so it's as simple as that. You can get started literally today. If I go like this, I can see the support team waiting for a call out there. So if you do want to get started, jump onto Sprii.io. But that was about it from us. Corey, Christian, was there any final comments, or is it goodbye from us?
Thanks for having me again. Happy to be back.
Thank you.
And thank you for all your questions. That's really nice. Yeah.
Will we, Justina Lee, will we be able to book into that webinar? Yes, you can book that webinar today. Everything, you can either go to our LinkedIn or to our website. So Sprii.io or Sprii on LinkedIn.
Cool.
Thank you, Helen. Yeah. Thank you, Justina, for the question.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you, Christian. Thank you, Corey.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for your participation. Great. Bye, everyone.
We're doing. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.